Ray, Ben, Ma, King. Good evening and welcome to part 3 of our tour du Oahu. Les étoiles. Ben, Ray, with us is Kayla. Say what you want with your mouth. Like. There you have it. All right, welcome back. Hey. Hey, good to see ya. We're good. Hey, good to see you back.
Dude,
you're probably surprised.
We're doing it. What do you mean?
Do you really want to do it like this?
I don't know. I'm okay if we are.
Hey, look at me. I'm Ben. All right, don't spill the coffee. It's hot. We're back at you. Part 3, walk around Oahu. Gotta feel it. We're feeling it. We're doing it. We're here. It's been all day. I'm Ben.
I'm Ray.
We're back at it. Part number 3, walk around Oahu. We hope you're enjoying it, and we're gonna keep it up so you can keep entertained.
Now we're just hanging out. About halfway point almost. About.
Dude, God.
Now we say
60 miles in, 50-some miles in.
57.
We were all fat and happy, and we went to our sleeping bags. We're like, man, finally get some rest. We'll sleep from 8 to midnight. 4 hours or so. Get a solid 4 hours in. Pick back up and start going.
Is that what happened?
No.
Not quite.
No, yeah.
Not quite
around 9:30, 10.
An hour in?
Yeah, about an hour and a half in, we get woken up with a flashlight to the face by some, not like hitting us in the face, no, the light.
Yep.
To the face, being like, hey, you guys can't be here. Kind of like we assumed would happen a little bit, but basically security guard like kicked us out. So we're super upset, because we're an hour into like heavy REM, so we're just like, like, wow, I needed to sleep so bad. So we get up, and I like have been to Waimea a few times, and everyone has, but we know there's a little parking lot down the street, so we drove down, and it's literally just like on the side of the road. There's like a little parking lot that's like 50 meters by like 5 meters. It's small. It's right on the road. So we stopped there, and we unpack all our trash again after licking our wounds and moving. Unpack all our stuff, lay it all down, use the van as kind of like a wall to protect us from anything from the road, and try to knock out another 2 hours sleep or so. But we were right on the road, and the car was just going by all night. It was like super hard to sleep. Even being so tired, it was just so loud.
Yeah.
It was impossible.
It was pretty restless sleep for me. It was like getting woken up before you had to be up to go to school for the first day. You like know something big is about to happen, and like it's in your head, and you're all like jonesed up, like we should just go now. But you're like I gotta get this sleep in. Oh, it just sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, got a couple more hours of sleep.
And I think you drove, right?
Yeah, because I slept at Waimea. I slept on the ground outside. Everybody else slept in the van. I just like slept right next to the thing, and the security guard woke us up, and I was just like, everyone just stay in place. I just like threw all my stuff, in the freaking passenger seat, and just like jumped in the car and just took off, and was like, where's the next, like 200 meters down the road, where is the next place we can just pull over and just sleep? Because I wanted to get back to sleep as soon as possible. So that's what
we were all like, the back of it is like, it's empty, it's like cargo van, so it's big, but it was like packed with stuff. We had like 4 coolers and like all of our like gear
and everything,
and though like it's not stacked in a way that like makes sense for driving. It's stacked in a way that makes sense for like 3 people to sleep in it. Because I was sleeping in the back of it, Micah was
sleeping. I was outside with
Joe. Oh, okay, yeah.
So
yeah.
it wasn't set up to be like safe for driving, but like we didn't change it, and Joe's like, he's like flooring it out of the parking lot and like taking rights and lefts and trying to find a spot to park, and I'm just like half asleep and just like I know that like I've got to hold these like coolers in place, otherwise I'm gonna get like domed by
destroyed.
One of these.
Yeah, we sleep for a couple hours. I think we ended up, we were supposed to step off like midnight, but due to that setback, we woke up at like midnight 30. Got dressed again, made some turkey sandwiches for the 100th time, and our next goal for that day was to basically make it down to less than 100 miles, basically down to the south west portion of the island on the west side. Our first leg of that race was going to be in the dark, basically from midnight to sunrise to the end of Kaina Point, which is like the westernmost point of Oahu. So that was first time I think I've even been out there. So we were like, all right, let's do it. I think you've been out there before, so you kind of yourself, so you knew there was like a walking trail. But if you look at the map, it's a pretty far distance from where we started to the end of Kaina Point. So we licked our wounds and got up and got dressed and put our headlamps on, got the music pumping on the Bluetooth speaker, and just started stepping it out.
What were you thinking? What were you feeling at that point?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I'm usually a pretty positive guy, and I like don't show a lot of like emotion, especially like with like what we do for work. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, my feet hurt, like this sucks. This was the first time where, and I don't even know if I told you guys, but I was like feeling uncomfortable. This is the first time where we took extra little well, I guess not really, because we went probably 12 miles or 15 miles, or I don't know exactly.
15, I think.
So it was designed to have it broken up, but we kind of did it all one go. We didn't have the truck come up at all. But I remember this is the first time where I was couldn't wait to sit down and put my feet up, because my feet were becoming very uncomfortable. And it was, I think, partly I wore my boots.
You weren't even wearing pants.
Yeah.
You were wearing underwear.
You were wearing underwear.
Ben wasn't even wearing
Yeah.
pants. He was just walking with no pants on,
Yeah.
not a care in the world.
Yep.
And I think one of the worst parts about it was when you finally got down to where it split to Kaina Point, there's a road that just runs directly west, and it's got to be I'm exaggerating, but probably 8 miles straight,
Yep.
and it's just this concrete that is not smooth at all. And it's just basically they just threw rocks down and just put white out over it. If you're looking at a piece of paper, it's just rough, and you're that is not what I want to walk on. And I never realized, how much that affects you walking until we did that many miles. And everything I was walking, I was that looks a little bit more smooth than that, so I'm gonna walk on that instead. Am I gonna go on grass or not? Okay, we're gonna go on the grass. And there was animals and bugs and all kinds of weird stuff in the grass.
You would literally we were walking on the painted line of the road instead of the actual road, or the little bit of sandy dirt area. At this point, I was starting to mess around with I was taking my shoes off and walking barefoot, because I had these the shoes that I was wearing when I wasn't wearing the boots are these weird minimalist shoes, and they've got the weirdest sole on them, and I never had any trouble with it, I don't think, at this point, but just all the mileage, they just became a bunch of little pressure points on my foot. So I was messing around, I would take my shoes off for a mile, put them back on for a mile, walk in the dirt, walk on the lines.
So yeah, what was everyone wearing on their feet? Socks, no socks, boots for work, or tennis shoes?
You wore the same pair.
I wore a pair of Solomon approach shoes the whole time, and then
Shout out Solomon.
I wore Solomons the whole time. I wore them on Mauna Kea before, and then I wore them on the same pair of shoes actually on my approach up to the Emmons Glacier on Rainier. So I knew they were trusted shoes, and then I'm a big fan of wool socks all year round for work. So I bought a couple of pairs of backpacking low cut socks that were made by Darn Tough that I'm a huge proponent for. I just wore those the whole time, so that's what I wore.
Yeah, I had 2 pairs of Brooks. I just kind of shuffled back and forth, and I brought my boots, and it was actually at Kaina Point. I put the boots on. Having walked all the time in the Brooks was nice, and I put the boots on because, from what I understood, it was a little bit more mountainous, a little off-road action, and that was a bad choice. I put them on, and immediately it hurt super bad. And this is terrible, but having done plenty of hikes, I'm my feet will go numb in half a mile, and then I'll just walk, it'll be fine. They didn't go numb at all the whole time. I felt it the whole way, and then once we got to the backside of Kaina Point, I just took them off and went barefoot, basically till we linked back up with the vehicle, and then Ben was he was using my shoes, his shoes, whatever he could find.
I had a tough time. My feet, I wasn't getting blisters. I tore a hole. I put like a hole in the back of my foot on like my Achilles because I didn't wear socks, and the shoes, those same like minimalist shoes, I had a different pair for like a year. I never wore socks in them, but this pair like wasn't really like didn't quite fit the same, so it was rubbing on my heel. So I put a hole in it like right in the beginning, but that was the only thing. And besides that, I didn't get any blisters. It was just like my bones were like sore. Like it was just like in my foot from I think those like little pressure balls on like what became pressure spots on my foot from how the shoe was kind of like designed. I'll try to put a picture of the shoes on there, but I wore the boots a lot. They ended up kind of like making my shins, my muscle in my shin sore, I think, because like lifting up that extra weight. But I really like those boots. They're comfortable. And then yeah, by the end of it, I was like wearing no shoes, my shoes, a pair of John's shoes, which were too small. Then Jay brought a pair of shoes for me on like the last leg, and those like were nice and light and sort of comfortable. But at that point, it was like over. Nothing was comfortable. Like it didn't matter what. I just like the only thing that would have been comfortable was just like to like cut my legs off or something, like from my knee down or something.
So day 2, how far did you guys? I mean, you mentioned making it to Kind of Point. Is that where you stopped, or was that roughly around sundown, or what?
That was
kind of the
sunrise.
timeline?
That was sunrise.
Sunrise.
Oh, that was sunrise.
So from midnight to sunrise, we covered probably 15 miles or so.
Okay.
Stopped at Canyon Point, had breakfast. Micah set up this like really nice spread,
Yeah.
and then in typical fashion, passed out for like 30 minutes, maybe even longer. That one was really rough. We were hurting. And it's funny, that leg was like super painful. It was just one long, continuous road. It was like rough pavement.
The Furman Highway, the North Furman Highway.
And I hate that highway.
I think it was the same road.
It was the
Like
same road.
there's like 2 roads in Hawaii. It turns out there's Kamehameha Highway and there's the
East Furman.
North Furman Highway
Farrington Highway, right?
Farrington, yeah. And
Whatever it was.
that road like went from Haleiwa to Kaena Point, and then like on the south side of Kaena Point, once you like go around the point, then it was like that road all the way to like Electric Beach where like the highway started or something.
Yeah.
It was like half of our trip was on that road, and then like we like randomly saw that sign. Like there was like it had another part of it or like just another road that named the same. But yeah, that was like that was on that road for a long time.
Yeah, on there forever, and we were hurting. So we got to kind of point where we're like, we made it. At that point, we were like, this isn't fun anymore. we were like, we're I don't care if I do this ever again. But we had our rest, went down the south side, met up with Micah, took a 10-minute nap, and then just continued to push all the way down to some random beach that we haven't been to before. Really, it just was a point of the deck on the west side, and we made our way down there. And stopped around 2 in the afternoon, and that's where we took a rest for the day. We took a daytime nap so we could travel at night. So we took a rest from like 2 till like 6 or 8, between 6 and 8. Like 7 o'clock, we were up and about. The sun was setting at like 7:15 that night. Started getting up, getting ready. I was sleeping in the van with Ben. Joe sleeping outside next to some like needles, and some kids are coming
Crack
by
pipe.
like, mommy, who is this man?
People were walking by and like waking me up because exactly that. People were like, "There's a man sleeping on the ground right here," and people would be like, "Don't talk to him."
Yeah,
I was
because
like,
it's like a Saturday.
Right.
It's a beautiful day, Saturday. Everybody's out at the beach, and we're in like a beach parking lot.
Right.
So it wasn't like we were the only ones out there.
No.
It was packed. It was a ton of people, and I'm like the only guy sleeping on the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good though. I slept pretty good that there. I remember I used the bathroom there and then went to sleep and
Yeah.
slept pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We woke up, and we're excited. It was our last wake up, and we.
But remember the breakthrough that we had? Micah brought like the towels that were soaked in ice.
I do remember that. Yeah.
That was like leading up to that break, I think.
Yeah, so I would say like a couple of things about like the second day. One, it felt like the majority of the second leg seemed to somehow be uphill. Like it was like, there was like not steep, but there was a lot of like gradual grades. It's much hotter on the west side of the island because it's like the rain shadow of the whole island. So we were
It's like deserty almost.
Yeah, it's like deserty. We were just over there just getting destroyed by the weather, by the temperature. And then Micah came by and gave us like They were like chamois cloths.
Yeah,
that were
yeah.
like,
It's a weird material.
Yeah.
I like didn't like the it like felt weird in my hands, but it felt great because it was cold and
yeah.
icy.
She had soaked them in like the ice chest and gave them to us, and then that was like the game-changing standard for the remainder of.
We just expected it. Then.
Yeah, the second and the third day. Like the third day, I ended up wearing my T-shirt on my head and put ice on that. But yeah, that was like a huge game changer though, having those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the beginning of the third day is where like it got real, and like a lot of interesting thing happened. We linked up with multiple different people that we knew, and just like went through. That's when we took the city. We took Honolulu at that point, and that was like.
This is the candidate of that foot.
That looks like a really bad situation right there.
Nah, it's just low blood.
I haven't taken my shoes off yet. Nothing. My advice is to leave it. He says it doesn't hurt. Dude, your toe is growing on a toe, dog.
And it's got a blister on the underside too, so it's just like
Double blister.
encapsulated.
John, say hi to your mom.
Hi, Mom. Here's a pop guard. Hi, Mom. Full of cereal. Hi, Mom. That's Ben.
I sneezed.
Bless you.
Hi, Mom. Let's go.